again, ladies and gentlemen. This is Dan with We the People Prepping. Alright. I've gotten some emails and some comments asking how, let me adjust that there. How do you get family and friends involved in prepping? Okay. A lot of people really screw this up, okay, because already, a lot of people perceive preppers as nut jobs, tinfoil wearing hat, lunatics and conspiracy theorists and all that. And when they go to talk to their family about prepping or their friends about prepping, they throw a lot of conspiracy theories out there. Okay, if you're trying to talk to somebody that doesn't prep, that isn't really a part of this community, what you definitely should not do is start off with stuff like, the Great Reset, World Economic Forum, all that kind of stuff. All right. Now, my baby brother wasn't into prepping whatsoever. He thought I was nuts for stacking so much food and everything. But, with everything that had happened over the last year, about, around July, I believe it was, I finally got him convinced about prepping. He finally seen my point. And, I'd talked to him a few other times about it. And then July of last year, I started having a conversation with him about, just the things that were going on, he was seeing that there wasn't as much stuff on the shelves at the stores, couldn't find no toilet paper, the civil unrest going on. I mean, even in the little town he lives in, there's only about 10,000 people, but they had a protest going on there. Granted, it stayed civil because, we live in a redneck area. You do not want to come to our area and start a bunch of drama. Anyhow, there was only maybe 60 people there altogether, and half of them were probably hecklers. But anyhow, I told him, I was like, you laughed at me for a long time because I prep food and toilet paper and paper towels and all this stuff. I go, but do you still think it's funny? Because he'd gone to the store and he couldn't find toilet paper, he couldn't find bleach, he couldn't find disinfectant, and he was one that was in a panic because his, for lack of a better word, might as well consider him married, but his woman, they've been together for like 14 years, so that you might as well consider him married. But his woman has a bunch of health problems. She's a bit overweight. She has diabetes and a few other health problems. But so he was concerned about the pandemic, and they wanted to scrub down their house and all that kind of stuff. But he went to the store. He couldn't find any supplies. So he knows that I stock a bunch of stuff like that. So he asked me, and then when I took him over to him, that's when I struck up the conversation and asked him, do you still think that I'm crazy for doing this? I mean, I don't prep for the wild stuff, the zombie apocalypse, stuff like that. I don't prep for that. I prep for everyday things that could happen. Social unrest, blackouts, tornadoes, earthquakes, floods, stuff like that, and I explained to him, I was like, because he thought that I was prepping for like the zombie apocalypse and stuff like that, and I explained to him, no, the whole purpose of me prepping the way that I do and stacking so much food and water and all of that was just in case something happened. It's my way of ensuring that I'm not going to do without. I told him it's just like, going out and buying health insurance. You don't buy health insurance because you're sick. You buy it in case you get sick. And, you know, I didn't go at him with wild out there theories. I made it make sense to him because, okay, look, I grew up, my whole family, we grew up poor. Okay. So, we know what it's like to live on rice for a month, So, and I'm not kidding about that either. I mean, there was an entire month where all we had was rice for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And you run out of ways to prepare rice after a while, let me tell you. But especially when you don't have a whole lot to put in it. But anyhow, I explained to him, I'm like, look, okay, you've been laid off from your job before, right? And he's like, yeah. I go, now, when you were laid off, you were living off of unemployment, and it only paid like about half of what you actually made working, right? Yeah. I go, okay, now, I remember when you were laid off, and I remember how you were struggling just to keep some food in the house and keep your utilities and stuff on. And he goes, yeah. And I was like, okay, well, imagine that had you had a pantry full of food for at least 3 months worth of food in your pantry, okay, would you have struggled as bad as you did? Well, no, because I wouldn't have had to have spent so much money on food, and I could have used the money on other bills. So it's like, there's my point. Okay, if I lose my job, I've got enough food and everything to get me through. I stash money back here and there when I can. Okay, well, over the last year, I've pretty much depleted my savings helping other people and friends and family out. But, I had a fairly substantial savings account. But, he come around and he's seen my point. Now, I was watching the MD Creekmore's video the other day about people that don't prep. Do they deserve to suffer? And I don't believe so, honestly. Okay, and here's the reason for that. A lot of people have no idea where to start prepping. Prepping can be an overwhelming thing. Like my sister. Okay, her husband he lost his job, and she was only working part-time. Now, they paid off their house, luckily for them, but they had to give up the car that they'd bought and downgrade to an old beater. But she doesn't have much money because of this, and she gets very little financial assistance from the government, during this time. And I was talking to her last year about, that she needed to start to prep, and she's like, well, I can't afford to do that, and I don't know where to start anyhow. And I told her, look, you go grocery shopping all the time. I know, because I run into you out at the store when I'm home. And she's like, yeah. I go, okay, you're buying one meal at a time. Stop it. Go in there with a plan. Plan out your week's meals. Okay? Go in there, buy all the stuff that you need for that week's meals. Look around in the store. See if you can find stuff that's on sale. Stuff that you would eat. And, spend an extra $10. That's it. Just $10 to buy that whatever it is that's on sale. If it's, SpaghettiOs, as an example. Like ravioli, they've had it on sale here recently where I live for 80 cents a can. That's a pretty good price. And that's the name brand, Chef Boyardee. you know. So I go in there and I'll buy a flat or two at a time, you know. And okay, you buy a flat that's 12 cans. That's what, about $11? Okay, now you got 12 cans of that. Set that back. Okay, now if you're going to eat some of it, eat some of it. But okay, you go to the again. Say they got well, last week when I was at the store, they had elbow macaroni. You know, granted it was the great value, but it was on sale for 65 cents for a pound box of it, and I was like, whoa, you know. So I bought like 15 of them. Okay, so I got 15 pounds of macaroni. It cost me less than $15. And then I went over and I bought 15 cans of Hunt's, which is only 88 cents a can. Hunt's spaghetti sauces, you know, various different types of it, you know. So, hey, right there, you know, I got 15 meals, easy, if not more. You know, technically, you know, a pound of spaghetti, you know, will last me and my wife a couple of days. You know, we'll have it for dinner one day and then have it for lunch like the next day, and then, you know, snack on it here and there. But, you know, they had the number 10 cans of chili beans, the Bush's chili beans, on sale here recently at the Walmart where I live, down by where I live. Anyhow, you know, it was like $3 a can, which is not a bad price for it, you know. And I went in and I think I bought 6 of them, so it's like $18. You know, that's a lot of chili beans, you know, but they're number 10 cans. They went right back into my preps. Yeah, I'm not going to use that many of them right off the bat anyhow. You know, I might use one, or, you know, well, for me and my wife, I'd use one, make chili. Oh, we would have chili. We'd have chili boats. We'd have chili mac. You know, I mean, just mixing it up. You know, chili one night, then make chili boats the next night, and chili mac the next night, whatever. You know, my point was that I told my sister was, you know, if you just buy a little extra every time you go, a little more than what you actually need, you know, 2, 3, 4 cans more, okay? You know, if you go to, well, like where I live, they have Rulers, which is kind of like a Save-A-Lot. They closed down all the Save-A-Lots in my area. But you go to Rulers, the you know, they're generic brands, but they're good. Okay, let me tell you a little something about the generic brands. Now, I know this for a fact because I haul foods and stuff like that. And I've hauled food for Aldi's, I've hauled food for Kroger, I've hauled food for Walmart. I mean, all of them. It all comes out of the same damn factory. Okay? The green beans that you're buying that are Libby's green beans are the same green beans that are in those generic cans. The difference is the labels. You got all that packaging, you know, the fancy label and everything, and then you got a generic label. It's basically, and they're charging you almost $1 more for the Libby's over the generic. Okay, same stuff. Now, granted, the macaroni and cheese and stuff like that, not always the. I have a tendency to stick to the better quality, the better name brands, you know, of that than I do to go with, you know, like the Aldi store brands. I don't care for those. So, yeah, I stick with a better brand. Elbow macaroni, it's not that big of a deal, but like the boxes of mac and cheese, it is. But I buy a lot of the boxes of elbow macaroni because I can make it into chili mac, and I have from Hoosier Hill Farms, I buy the big 1 and 2 pound canisters of cheddar cheese powder. Okay, and I can make my own mac and cheese that way. I also have powdered butter, I have powdered milk, so, you know, in an SHTF, all I need is some water. Okay, and I have other proteins that I can mix in with it, like tuna fish and chicken and stuff like that. But I went in and I talked to my sister about all of this stuff. I go, look, I know you're on a hard time right now, but I've also seen, like, you're getting, so much in food stamps, SNAP, whatever, right now, because your husband's out of work and you're only working part-time. And it's not your fault. It's the government's fault. They closed down his job, and your hours got cut back because of everything. So instead of going out there and buying the name brand stuff like you normally do, and going out there and buying junk foods and stuff like that, conserve it. Buy the generic stuff. Stop buying all the junk foods. Like the snack cakes and all of that. Take that, the SNAP that you're going to use for that, and buy extra food. Now, I don't have a problem with, everybody needs their sweets. Don't buy the pre-made stuff. Make stuff yourself. Especially, you're only working part-time. It gives you time. You can bake cakes, pies, make cookies, whatever. And if you buy the ingredients, you're not going to use all of the ingredients at once. So you'll have extras for later on. But with the ingredients you do have, you're going to make quite a bit of, but, I talked to her for a couple hours, and we discussed how to get started and where to store the foods and, what to look for. And, I had to explain to her about the fact that the best by dates are not an expiration date, that those will stay good in those cans for years as long as they're stored in the proper manner. Keep them out of the sun. Don't let them get too hot. Don't let them freeze. If they're dented up, don't buy the can unless you're planning on using it right away. But I went into details on all of it, and because of that, she started doing what I suggested, and now she's got at least 2 months worth of food set back, so that they're not struggling so hard to figure out what to eat and all that. But I have other prepper friends that they go, well, they just think I'm crazy. I'm like, okay, well, how did you approach them about starting to prep? And they were telling me, I started telling them about the World Economic Forum's plan for, and I was like, oh, no. It's no wonder they're looking at you like you're nuts, okay? You're diving deep into something that they are not ready for. You got to make it relevant to their life in order to get them to start prepping. It's that simple. Anyhow, this has been Dan with We the People Prepping. Hope this helps you all a little bit. Don't try to overwhelm somebody whenever you're talking to them about prepping. Use common sense and make it applicable to their lives. Anyhow, you all have a good night. If you like my content, please hit the subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up. Thumbs down if you didn't. It doesn't matter to me either way. Share my content. Ring the little bell to be notified whenever I upload some new content. If you'd like to email me, my email will be in the description below. If you'd like to support my channel, I have links in the description below as well. Anyhow, you all have a good night. God bless. Stay safe. Bye.